record a message.
Hey, it's Jim calling.
Hello, who's that?
Hey, Tom, it's Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Tom, how you doing?
Right.
Oh, man.
This is like calling Indonesia around here. Nothing but tangled wires, and so we're on the line here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Down by Law, but first I want to know what it's like weather-wise in Cal.
Oh, weather-wise. It's I don't know, it's probably about 80, and blue skies, no wind. It's like a perfect summer day out here, Jim.
Sounds like paradise.
It's very close to that.
We got like 96 degrees.
You got bugs?
And humid.
And humid, yeah.
And bugs, well, you know, your normal New York City bugs.
Yeah.
Water bugs. Oh, man. So do you remember it all, this film we made about 40 years ago?
Back when I was young, thin, and handsome. Yes, of course I do. I keep it as a chronicle.
Oh. Chronicle of shame.
No, I salute it. To be preserved, in such good shape.
Well, you are really a real gift to the movie, and I don't know.
Thanks, yeah.
I love the character that you made and all the stuff you brought to the film. Amazing.
Oh, thanks. Well, it was a great experience. It was one of the first things I did, and I didn't expect to have so much to do.
Are you saying I tricked you?
No, yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I thought it was a small part, and I realized that it's like carrying a piano. You realize you're holding up the other end of that piano, and there's three other guys with
Yeah, it wasn't the short film that I told you it would be, I guess. But Zach, you made this beautiful character, Zach, that I remember at first he was going to be a musician.
Oh, right.
And then we talked about that, and that seemed too close to you.
Yeah.
And then it was your idea for him to be a DJ.
Well, I figured you still get the music in there, and those guys are kind of nomads, and they're kind of faceless guys that bounce around to different towns and keep changing their names. Are you there?
Yeah.
They're kind of like crooks, in a way. It's showbiz with something missing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're all very much a part of our lives without being too annoying. And so
they are like con men too, in a way. I mean, but for the beauty of music. In the case of Zach.
Plus, you can show up at the station looking like hell and no one knows you.
Yeah, but Zach looked pretty good. I remember
that was just my own vanity.
The plaid pants thing was your idea. You decided Zach would wear plaid, sort of like golf pants almost.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it takes a lot of courage to wear plaid, and it's like wearing red pants. I think that takes more courage to wear red pants. I've only seen that in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's a hard one to pull off.
Yeah.
Red
You
pants.
need a white belt. and white shoes.
Huh. Kind of dressed like my relatives in Ohio. White belt, white shoes, the red pants.
But plaid, yeah.
And
plaid
the shoes were your actual shoes, too.
Oh, right.
Those amazing shoes.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know where I found those. Those were my pointed days. I must admit, I've moved on from those pointed days.
I know. I noticed last time I saw you. That was a big change.
Yeah, I've gone to a round toe, and my feet are happy for it.
Although you used to wear like engineer round-toed boots sometimes, I remember.
Yeah, but mostly I was always on the hunt for the
points. Yeah. Now they're coming back, apparently.
They are coming back.
Yeah, I guess that's a reason why you're not wearing them.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm like it's like Pistons. They're down, I'm up.
You're a contrary.
I don't know. But it was a great film. I watched it again last night. It's meditative at times, and there's something about the look of the black and white that kind of slows you down a little bit, and it has its own peculiar inner rhythm. It's like a Russian neo-fugitive episode of The Honeymooners in a way. It's just
Visita mi canal.
its own. It's funny, but you catch yourself sliding into kind of a biblical state as well. Sometimes it's an odd ride. You know, it's like a fun house, but the car's moving very slow. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to sit down and watch it. I mean, watch myself. I usually get up if I'm watching myself on film, and I have to move around and leave the room. But I was able to sit there.
Huh. Yeah, I can't watch it, but I just can't. You know, I can't watch any of the films anymore. But I sure have really. My fondest memories are of Making Down by Law. And I don't know if it's just the people or the experience or being in New Orleans and the swamps, or I think it's just a combination of all those things. But that was, in my memory, the best experience I ever had on a film production.
Well, I was happy to be part of the collaboration. Coming up with spontaneous dialogue and whatnot. I didn't expect to be integrated into that level of the process, and it was delightful to be having an open dialogue about those things. Because in most films, it's so departmentalized that you put your nail in the wood and you go.
Yeah.
And, this was much more involving.
Yeah, I think that's because I have no idea what I'm doing, so I depend on everyone else to come up with it. But man, you brought so many things to the film. It was pretty much improvised. All of your dialogue, although we had ideas for the scenes. But
oh, right.
And I remember too being surprised of a few things, like when you're kind of like stuffed into that cop car.
Oh, right.
You were like I thought you were going to kick the windows right out of it, which would have been improvised. I didn't tell him to do that. But a lot of just so many beautiful things that everything you brought. Plus your songs too. From Rain Dogs for the opening and end of the film.
Yeah, I thought that really worked in there. It felt like it was almost like it was written for the picture, which wasn't the case. But sometimes you put two things together and they just, you know how that works with music.
Yeah, but also those songs existed, so even when we were sort of designing the parts of the film, we had them, in a way they inspired images from the film rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
So.
I loved that whole sequence, going past the hearse and the graveyard and the neighborhoods and all that. Yeah, it was just so much to look at. And it was like film was kind of new for me at that time, and I thought that you paid a lot of attention to the world going on around you, and at the same time, you also made it look like that we were shooting on the moon sometimes, like those science fiction guys in the 50s would use an egg beater and they'd light it in such a way as to suggest that it might perhaps be a weapon from Mars or something. That sometimes and even the graffiti on the walls of the prison was like, I wanted to go in there and look closer. A lot of times I wanted you to go in on some of those things. It was graphically pleasing.
Well, so a lot of that stuff was really there. We didn't add, we didn't really build a lot of sets. Yeah. Hey, do you remember when we had that, the Jag that your character drives, and you and I got to cruise around one night in it, and I remember you looking over and saying, you need a particular kind of music in a car like this, and I said, well, what kind do you think? And you said, Julie London. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was a nice ride. That was a nice car.
Don't Smoke in Bed. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Wow.
But then I'd forgotten that we sang a few lines off the Roy Orbison song in there.
Oh, that's right.
I was all right for a while. I was crying, yeah.
The song Crying.
Yeah, that was really nice in there, that little Roy Orbison.
Yeah, we got that in there, Roy.
And it's very funny. It's so deadpan, the film. The humor, it kind of waits. It's like a line comes, and then there's a fall, and then there's a wait, and then there's another line. It's got its own. It crawls forward in its own odd way, and Bob plays right into that because he plays more the holes than the line. The way he delivers the line, you know, he has that natural physical humor and natural timing, and I thought it really would tie the whole thing together. And
he really has an odd sense. I remember that line about "It's a sad and beautiful world."
Oh, yeah.
He was supposed to say "It's a sad and beautiful song," I believe, and then he said, "It's a sad and beautiful word."
Yeah, right.
And you and I said, "Wait, what? Cut? You know, wait. What did he say? What did you say, Bob? Sad and beautiful word." And then we said, we thought we said world. And then we changed it to that. And Roberto's like, "Okay, I agree." You remember how he used to say "I agree" when he understood nothing?
Yeah. Good. His score was really beautiful. I thought that this whole sense of the found sound and trying to replicate the intermittent, haphazard dripping of sounds in nature, you know, that kind of like bug music. It was really John can pick up anything and play it. We'd be out there in the trees waiting for the beginning of a scene, and he'd pick up a PVC pipe from leftover from a irrigation system. He'd put it up to his mouth, and he'd get the most interesting sounds.
Yeah, like didgeridoo type sounds.
Yeah.
But he had some really amazing people recording on that score. Some of your cohorts, Rebo, and Nana Vasconcelos, and Ardo Lindsay, and he had some really amazing.
Yeah, Tony Garnier.
Yeah, Tony Garnier for sure. Yeah, great bass player.
Yeah, it was really a great score.
Have you played with Tony? No, because Dylan kind of stole him away.
I played with him on one or two songs on that Rain Dogs.
Oh, he did play. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's.
And I love the scene. I love the scene with Vernel Bagneris that you did after Roberto, where he comes and sets you up.
Right.
He is pretty amazing guy too.
Yeah, he's got a real something kind of snake-like about him. At the same time, he's very calming.
Yeah, he's
calming like a snake.
Interesting. Yeah. And we had so many great people, Robbie Mueller and Claire Denis, and man, we had a good group.
Well, you always put together these international guerrilla foundations.
Yeah.
People that can solve problems regardless of the depth or the timing of them, which I guess is what you have to do when you put together a group. You have to be able to certainly plan for the unexpected, so you need people that don't rattle under pressure, right?
Yeah, I like to check and see if they're wearing like torn articles of clothing, and then they're good. They're cool. They're good. If their clothes look too nice, makes me nervous.
They were all great. Robbie was great. A lot of those setups went on for a little too long for me, but that's just an actor's point of view, because you kind of feel like a candle sometimes, and you've been lit.
Yeah, that's
and
hard.
You want to make sure you do your scene before you've burned down, but.
Yeah, plus I tend to let it roll, for quite a while after, but.
I like that. I think you catch stuff when you.
You do. You catch stuff you weren't. Yeah, you're not sure.
Everybody's trying to direct in their own way. They know how big they are in the scene, and that when it starts, when it stops. I guess the best way to do it is that there is no beginning, really, to a scene, and there really is no ending to a scene, or that thing is to be determined by you, and it's best if the actors just kind of go out there and turn on the hose, right? And you're the vessel.
Yeah, I think you have to just, I think acting's about reacting.
Yeah.
So, we work together and we collaborate on the characters.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like letting that character exist in a scene.
Yeah.
And they react as the character rather than acting, or as I like to say, acting.
Acting.
You can see a mile away when somebody's up there acting. Like telling you what the damn scene's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think you have to go in kind of approach it more like an animal. I guess is the best way to do it.
A lot of people have remarked on how cool you look with a hairnet.
Oh yeah, well I haven't gotten a chance to wear that since.
Really?
I've got it on a nail.
Maybe on your next tour you should rock that look again. Yeah, you do look good with a hairnet.
Well, I hear that a lot now.
It's coming back to you.
And you wanted me to remark on some of these older films about what was that? Oh, I was thinking about Shack Out on 101.
Oh yeah, with Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great one,
Man, I have no idea who directed that. I don't remember.
I don't think anybody knows,
or maybe no one did direct.
I don't think the guy that directed it knows that he directed it.
But I remember the scene when Lee Marvin is telling that guy why he wants to work out with weights because he wants to get a really big neck.
Yeah.
And he's really skinny and scrawny in the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's a great one.
What was the one I'm trying to think of? I was a prisoner on a chain gang?
Yeah, and then there's Prisoner of Shark.
I was a fugitive
from a chain gang.
Yeah.
And Prisoner of Shark Island with Paul Muni, I think.
Oh, wow.
And of course the Defiant Ones.
Oh, right. That one with Sidney Poitier.
With Sidney Poitier.
Who is he handcuffed to?
He's handcuffed to Tony Curtis.
God, what a great combination.
And that was in a way, in an oddball way, a kind of impetus for this story, and some for you and John,
Yeah.
without the racial implication.
Yeah,
but
right.
Two guys stuck together that really can't stand each other.
Oh, I love John.
No, I don't mean that. I mean as characters.
I had to create all that hostility.
Yeah, no, as characters.
Oh yeah, I know.
John.
And then we went on to do other things. I have you to thank for the seminal experience. And then John and I went, as you did it yourself, go on to be part of Fishing with John.
That's right.
Unforgettable. No matter how I try, I can't forget it.
Out on the water, fishing with John.
I guess, I don't know. Fishing shows where no one catches a thing, but they're there for the viewing and to create mystery and suspicion.
Suspicion fishing. Well, do you remember when we got locked up in the Orleans Parish prison for part of a day?
Oh, right. Yeah, just to get a feel for it.
Yeah. And we walked in there, and even the guards on the cell block did not know we weren't actual new prisoners.
Oh, right.
And we got put in those cells, and everyone was going, "Hey, baby,"
Hey,
it was like, whoa.
Yeah,
all right, fresh meat, new chicken. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. It was, and then I start wondering if some terrible mistake could happen, and that I would never actually be allowed out again, or maybe it was just a cruel joke on your part.
Oh,
Jim.
man, yeah, but I was in there too,
yeah.
So I made a mistake with the...
I was sticking close to you, Jim. I knew that I had to be near an executive at that time.
Yeah, really.
And then how about running into Pee Wee Herman out there in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah, he just wandered up, and it was dark, and he just wandered up out of the darkness, and then all of a sudden he was standing there.
Yeah, we were shooting the scene with the Sad and Beautiful World scene.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And we were there was no one around, middle of the night.
There were no buses, there were no cabs.
No, I don't even remember cars going by, nothing. And then this guy walks up.
It's like running into Jackie Gleason in Tibet.
Yeah.
You don't expect it.
Yeah.
It's so out of context.
Tus trailers.
Or Ernest
Visita mi
Borgnine
canal.
in Poland. Huh?
Huh?
I once ran into Joey Ramone by the Berlin Wall.
Oh, wow.
That was but that's almost more predictable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he just walked up out of the dark. He was unshaven.
Mm-hmm.
He was smoking like 100-millimeter cigarettes, like Virginia Slims or something. He's a great guy, though, man. I'm a huge fan of Pee-wee's Playhouse. What a genius.
Oh, man.
But man, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
He didn't look like Pee-wee.
No.
He was Paul Rubens.
Yeah, right. He's wearing a leather jacket. He needed a shave.
Yeah.
It's like, what the.
And you remember we had to drive every morning when we shot in the swamps across the Lake Pontchartrain, that bridge. I think it's the longest bridge on the planet.
Right.
Where Jane Mansfield, I think, got decapitated.
Is that really where that happened?
I think so, on that bridge. But that would always be at like 6 a.m. or something. We'd be heading up to the swamp.
Yeah, I remember getting up early. It was part of the whole routine there. And getting up at the Bayou Plaza. Casey was
Casey
I
was
had
tiny.
2 kids.
Yeah.
We were all living in a hotel room, me, Kathleen, and the 2 kids. Boy, that was special.
Yeah, I know. Man.
Good.
But you had been you knew New Orleans because you'd played there. You'd been there before. Like I had been there before our shooting, but only to prepare the shooting. I really didn't. So it was kind of like shooting on the moon for me. It was such a magical place. I think that's partly why the film is kind of like a fairy tale.
Yeah, it is like a fable.
But you were a big fan of New Orleans as a place and as a culture before we ever did this.
Well, mostly my connection was through the music.
Yeah.
The fact that it had been the birthplace of American music, really such a wellspring of so much that came out of there. So, and Storyville and Louis Armstrong and all that.
Yeah.
So, but I'd been there a couple of times. I'd played in a couple of clubs in the French Quarter, a couple of mob bars. It was just the weirdest experience down there. Such a heavy atmosphere, and but I had. This is the most time I ever spent there, and we were there for a couple of months, weren't we?
Yeah, we were there for at least 2 months, maybe more, altogether. I think we shot for like 6 weeks, but yeah. Wow.
But the film really holds up, Jim. It's really a wonderful ride. I recommend it for anyone.
Tom, well, it was a pleasure to make it with you and all these other crazy wackos. And someday maybe I'll look at it again. I just find it painful to look back.
I know how you feel,
But, I made a new transfer for this DVD, and it looks really beautiful, but I couldn't really watch it somehow as a film.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's nothing like fresh material.
Yeah.
You can't avoid that. And sometimes it's like going back into old yearbooks or old photo albums, and there you look a little odd. Your ears are too big.
Yeah, well, like do you listen back to your stuff you recorded, like studio recordings, very often? Do you go back and listen to Heart Attack and Vine, or does it bother you, or is it interesting?
As a curiosity, I will, but for the most part, I avoid it. I'm usually looking forward.
Yeah, it seems like you are.
Unless you think you learn something from it. Oh, man, that was before I developed this new technique, or before I realized this, or before I started listening to, B.B. Rebozo, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I missed his last few recordings.
And it shows, and they think, so in a way it's difficult to go back, because we like to see ourselves as moving forward, but, I don't know.
Yeah, it's particularly, for me, the thing about a film is that you want to enter it from a place of complete ignorance of, I mean, you don't want to know anything about it. You want to just go into this world.
Yeah.
But you can't do that either with, like, a film you acted in or worked on in any way,
Well, nobody wants to think all your greatest moments are behind you. We want to think that they're all up ahead.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's what, like Duke Ellington, I saw some interview recently, and they were, an old interview on film, and they said, well, what's the greatest thing you ever wrote? And he said, the one I'm going to write tomorrow.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all fresh, Hasn't even been picked off the tree yet. The best stuff comes out of the ground like a potato. And it's ripening as we speak.
Or at least it's optimistic to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Because you never really know.
No, you don't know, but you live in that hope and spontaneity and of the future.
Well, man, maybe we should stop looking back on that love. But anyway, man, I thank you for, for your gifts to the movie.
Oh,
and thanks for talking about it a little bit.
Hey, thanks for making me a part of it, Jim. You were taking a chance on me. I was green and wet behind the ears, and
Hey, well, we're also going to put on this DVD the one of the two videos we did together. The one "It's All Right with Me,"
right.
Cole Porter tune that we made.
Right.
A kind of crazy little homemade video.
All right with me.
Yeah, I like that video a lot.
yeah, I dug that.
Great dance moves on your part.
I don't know if I was under the influence of Alvin Ailey on some level there, Jim, or a twisted version of that. And then, of course, at the end, I'm carrying that big bust that's made of plaster that I take out of the trunk of the car. And I had always thought that it was a Mexican president, like or Benito Juarez or something. And then I realized that it was George Jefferson.
It's George Jefferson.
And
And he's since been stolen, right?
Well, that's what happens when you live in Hollywood, Jim.
Yeah, that was my gift to you. The bust of George Jefferson. He's gone now.
Yeah, it was stolen, and that was a sad day.
Well, at least we documented him.
When you've got something of value like that in your yard, you need a security system.
For your bust of George Jefferson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have kept it indoors. I knew that it wasn't meant for the garden.
Yeah, but he looked so cool out there. I remember seeing him in your backyard. He looked good.
It was somebody was casing the place when we pulled up.
Well, they had good taste.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, I'll let you go. Well, thanks a lot. And,
hey, thank you, Jim.
And I sure hope to see you soon. And we got to cook up some other wacky things to do.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do another picture.
All right. I'm working on a few ideas. So.
All right. Count me in.
All right, Tom.
All right, man.
Thanks for everything.
All right, Jim.
All right. Bye.
Pronto?
Hello. Ciao, Roberto.
Hey, Jim!
Yes, io sono Nunzio da Gubbio.
Nunzio da Gubbio, my friend, Nunzio, due scemi.
Due scemi.
Come stai? How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Oh, fine, thank you very much. Here in Italy now is very deep in the night.
Yeah, I know. You're still awake.
Ah, yes.
Tu vas bien à Roma?
Yeah. Tout va bien, merci beaucoup. But this is a surprise. What happened?
I was calling you. I wanted to ask you some questions about. Do you remember the film we made once, many years ago, Down by Law?
Down by Law. How can I forget Down by Law? I have everything in my mind. I remember the Brain in Fire period, Down by Law in New Orleans.
The Brain in Fire?
The Brain in Fire period. Do you remember?
Yes, when your brain was on fire.
Yes, exactly. No one word in English I knew, like now.
No, but...
My first time out of Italy.
I know, you spoke almost no... It was your first time in America, right?
First time in America, and first time in the swamp with the crocodile. Do you remember the swamp?
Yeah, the bayou.
The Bayou Platz Hotel. Mamma mia, what a wonderful moment there. It's a sad and beautiful world, Jimino. The French Quarter, the Cajun food, the Fats Domino. This time I walk into New Orleans. You know the song.
Yeah, of course. So, Bob, that really was your first time in America, right?
It was first time in America and first time with you, Jimino. I remember first time with Tom Waits, first time with John Lurie, with Sarah Driver, with Claire Denis, with Robbie Mueller, but my million time with Nicoletta Braschi.
Yeah. Oh,
OPP,
man.
do you remember? Orleans Parish Prison.
OPP.
Yeah.
And do you remember the day when we were put in the jail for a day when we were locked up together?
Yes, we stay really in the jail.
Yeah,
very scary, but it was such a blissing moment, very beautiful.
Yeah,
And do you remember the night with the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah, John
the
played.
Concert, everybody naked.
Yes, and John Lurie too. He played with the Chili Peppers.
Yes, completely naked. This is very beautiful night. I remember.
Yeah.
Walt Whitman. Do you know Walt Whitman?
Yes, I know. Walt Whitman, Bob Frost.
Bob Frost was a Woodstock. This I think I know. I have been one acquainted with the night.
Do you still remember in Italian, Bob Frost?
Oh, Bob Frost. Yes, yes.
And Bob, do you remember how you were very terrified of the water when we were in the boat? It was painful for you. That was very courageous because you don't like the water since you were very young.
I never been in the water in my life, on the ocean, on the sea, never in my life. So I was terrified by the water.
Yeah.
And this was a very special water. It was the swamp, a lot of mosquitoes and alligator. And I remember the gunman ready to kill the crocodile. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I was terrified. I couldn't swim.
I know. You were very brave, and we were teasing you. We kept threatening
I am a brave man because I was a killer. Yeah, killer.
Yeah.
And do you remember the songs there? Oh, I remember it's raining so hard, and I know beyond the sea she's there waiting for me.
Yeah, that one's not in the movie, but I remember we had it on the jukebox, I think, in the Bayou Plaza.
Yes, the jukebox. And it's raining so hard was in the movie.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful scene, me embracing Nicoletta and dancing with her and kissing her while John Lurie and Tom Waits are watching.
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene.
Very beautiful. That's my favorite scene, too, I think.
This is a masterpiece. The black and white of Robbie Mueller. The laughs of Sarah Driver and Nicoletta Braschi together still in my ears.
Very dangerous.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, very dangerous women.
And when I was learning English with my favorite words, revolting, flabbergasting, preposterous, cantankerous, discombobulated.
Wow, you have really a good memory. And let me ask you a question. When is a door not a door?
When a door is ajar.
Exactly.
And do you know why is 6 afraid about 7?
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Yeah, because of 7, 8, 9. I remember all this joke for children I like so much.
These are terrible jokes, Bob.
Terrible joke, really revolting.
And I remember we called you Bob Orleans for a while, and then we called you
Bob Orleans,
Bob.
Bob Angeles.
Yeah, that's in L.A., but in there you were Bayou Bob.
Bayou Bob.
Bob Orleans.
Yeah, I remember very much. And the quiet of Tom Waits, his eyes, the lips of John Lurie, Kathleen, Kelly Simone, Casey Sullivan. Do you remember this? I am a good egg.
Yeah.
Luigi Stintop. I am Jack. He is Jack. I am Jack. He is Jack. Ice cream. You scream. We all scream for ice cream. I have everything in my memory.
Oh, you have a very, very good memory, Bob.
Yeah, and the morning, the food too. Everything was changed for me. I remember oatmeal with raisin and banana every morning.
Everything was new. That's not Italian.
No, in Italy we don't have this, no.
No, I know.
No, oatmeal doesn't exist in Italy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was rice, yeah.
I know, it must have been very strange for you
there. Beautiful.
And you never knew what anyone was saying, really, either, you know?
What?
You never really knew what anything was anyone
No,
was saying.
I knew just one word. I agree. And
I know.
Said
We
I agree.
We knew when you didn't understand, because then you would respond with "I agree."
And do you remember was John Lurie teaching the fake English? He was joking with me.
Many wrong
Once
words.
I told him, how do you say in English to piss? I have to make pee-pee. And we say to flame.
Yeah.
And I was asking, please, I have to flame. Till now, I say I have to flame.
I
because
know.
now it's in my mind, yeah.
I
He
know,
was
Bob.
teaching me fake English. How do you say bottle? And they say screw, man. How do you say this, the glass? Junkos. And I was writing this fake English in my notebook.
I know you were a very serious student of John Lurie's English.
Oh, yes.
And do you remember we used to play a game, the hiding game, too? What did you call it?
The hide and seek.
Yeah, hide and seek.
And the Bayou Plaza, and also in the swamp, with these wonderful trees in the water.
Yeah.
What a wonderful place, mamma mia.
Yeah.
The music, the boats, Huckleberry Finn, the rivers, mamma mia, bellissimo. For me it was really the bliss, the beatitude, and having the certitude to make a masterpiece, because this movie is one of the best movies in the world.
Huckleberry Finn. Bob,
Yes.
you're crazy.
Jimino.
You're
It was a
nuts.
sad and very, very beautiful word. Frank O'Hara, you remember?
Frank O'Hara, of
Frank
course.
O'Hara, you said to me, this is my favorite poet. And I start to read in Italian and in
tus
English.
trailers.
And Tom
Visita mi
Waits
canal.
reciting Dante, the Dante's Inferno in Italian.
Yeah, I remember. That was beautiful.
Oh, very beautiful.
Mispronouncing many words, but sure sounded very strange. Tom Waits reading Dante.
Yes, swordfish trombone, the lounge lizards.
Yeah.
Bellissimo, bellissimo.
Oh,
The
Bob.
revolting food on the set, I remember too.
The what on the set?
The
What?
revolting food on the set.
Revolting. Schifoso.
Looking for Italian coffee and cigarette. Yeah, the brain in fire.
Oh, Bob, it was hard on you, but you were pretty amazing. You were very patient and courageous.
No, I am
know?
a good egg, yeah.
You are a good egg, Bob.
I am a good egg. You are a great director, Jim.
Yeah, I don't know about
Down by low. Yeah, roll on, reel of celluloid as the great earth rolls on. This is Frank O'Hara.
that. That's right.
Yeah.
All right,
Because he
Bob.
loves the movie, yeah.
This is really a flood. You have a flood of memories. Really a flood.
Oh, yes. Motion picture industry, it's you I love.
What's that?
Yes, it's Frank O'Hara. I am quoting here. I have in front of me the book of Frank O'Hara.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, not you, lean quarter lies and swarthy periodicals with your studious incursions toward the pomposity of ants, nor you, experimental theater in which emotive fruition is wedding poetic insight perpetually, nor you, promenading grand opera, obvious as an ear, though you are close to my heart. But you, motion picture industry, it's you I love.
And wait, what's the title of this poem?
This is to the film industry in
Right,
crisis.
To the film industry in crisis. That's
And before there is another poem called My Heart. Beautiful. Anyway, Jimino, this is in my memory. I never forget this moment I passed with you. To me now I have everything present. I can touch everything. I can touch your hair. I can look to the. Now I am walking in the swamp. I remember the density and the fear and the really terrific image of the swamp. Never saw in my life something like this in South of America. It was this unforgettable moment, unforgettable, and the flabbergasting movie.
Well, it was a good time. It was a beautiful place to be, you know.
I remember,
But you, Bob, you are such a gift to this movie, and I don't know how to thank you for everything you brought to this movie. You are the heart of this movie.
Oh, no.
Bob,
I remember this
Bob Orleans, Bayou Bob.
Bayou Bob. Do you remember the cunning rabbit?
Yeah, very cunning rabbit.
Oh, and I remember they wake up early in the morning with the sunrise in the swamp in New Orleans, what an unforgettable, the sunset.
Yeah,
Mamma mia.
and that green weeds on top of the water, remember?
Right.
Very strange.
very strange.
Any
Christmas
strange birds and animals?
Oh, birds. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because we shoot a lot during the night. A lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unforgettable. Absolutely so beautiful. Down by low.
Oh, Roberto, well, it's great. I'm so happy just to talk to you for a second about this film. You know, I hate to look back. I hate talking about these things in the past, but I love to hear your flood of memories.
Oh, but I like to think because we did think that it's not the past, it's present and future. So this my feeling is really, I am completely bliss this moment.
Y tus
It was
trailers,
really
visita mi
unforgettable.
canal.
Thank you, Jim, to call me to talk about Down by Low.
Bob, thank
If you want, you can call me again in 5 minutes.
Okay,
I start the same thing.
All right, just remember, we can't live in the present forever.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Robertino. Thank you.
you very much, and kiss everybody there.
All right, and you too.
Yes, I'm walking to New Orleans.
All right, ciao,
Bye,
Bob.
Jim.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, my God.
John. It worked. Eureka.
Hi, Jim.
John, yes.
It's so nice to hear from you.
Yes, we haven't spoken in years.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Darn.
So we are recording for the DVD of the film we made 46 years ago, Down by Law.
1932.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And now you lived in New Orleans when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
So it was weird when you went. Had you been back before?
No, I had not been back. And that the really strange thing was when we moved from Minnesota to New Orleans. We stayed in that until our house was ready. We stayed in that.
In the Bayou Plaza.
Yeah, but it wasn't called the Bayou Plaza then. I don't know what it was called. But we stayed in that hotel. It was the first hotel I ever stayed in.
Wow, that's bizarre. I know you remembered it when we were there, right?
Well, I walked into the lobby and it was just like this really disconcerting feeling of like remembering something from a dream when you were a child or something.
Oh man! And how old were you when you lived there?
When
you moved?
Six.
So you went from Massachusetts to Minnesota?
No, to Minnesota to New Orleans to Worcester.
Oh, so you were born in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it backwards. So wait, so you were 6 till you were 9 or 12 or what?
6 to 9.
Wow. And do you remember where you lived in New Orleans? You lived
1308 Peggy Avenue.
Which was in the city or in?
Yeah, no, it's in somewhere out in Airline Park.
Oh right, yeah. Weird.
We drove by the house once, me and Lisa Kruger, and it was like a shack.
Oh, man. So when we went down there, you hadn't been back there, but you certainly had some conception. I mean, what did you think about New Orleans? It was like a musical thing for you?
Well, I have a certain kind of idea of New Orleans and what it's like musically, but that's in my fantasy. That doesn't really exist. The New Orleans that I have in my brain is some kind of mix of like Buddy Bolden and Louis Armstrong and Sidney Bechet and bringing that into modern times. But I actually found that most of the music I saw there I was really kind of disappointed and inbred. I wasn't wild about the stuff I saw except for that one slide guitar player, Mason Ruffner.
Oh, right, I remember seeing him. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I remember seeing, I forget who, I saw, Walter Wolfman Washington play when we were down there.
I didn't see him, yeah.
Johnny Adams.
Johnny Adams I saw.
And then
Coco Taylor.
Yeah, and different people going through, I don't know, I saw Clifton Chenier down there.
Oh, I never saw him live.
And, I don't know. And then I saw some offshoot. I didn't see the Meters or the Nevilles.
No, I don't even think they were there. The only time the only experience I have with them was we were on tour in Japan back when the band was just hellacious, and drinking and getting into all kinds of trouble. And
the Lounge Lizards.
The Lounge Lizards. And when they put us on the same floor as the Neville brothers. So, and we had the whole floor. You know, it was just the Neville brothers and the loungers on this floor in Japan. And it was just like, and there were like, you know, parts of dolls and bottles in the hallway and underwear, and it was really out of control.
In Tokyo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, New Orleans, man, there's more, in a way, it's like a mystique. Half of it, I think, is in your imagination, and then the other half that is there is pretty bizarre.
There might be stuff going on that I just didn't get a hold of, too. You know, it's like I think the things that are really interesting are the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I just never got a handle on it, because I was concentrating so much on my acting.
Yeah. Well, you know, you did, like, I was pretty amazed, because when we were down there, you hung out with some pimps, right? Or some guys.
Oh, that guy was the scariest, one of the top 10 scariest guys I ever met. And, yeah, there was one guy, but there was some other kind of, like, half-assed pimps, but there was one guy who was, like, the heavy, hardcore, mind control pimp, and I drove around with him a couple nights, and every place we went into, they knew him by a different name.
Wow.
And he was not big, he was short, but he was like really put together in this unbelievable way. You just look at his eyes and you know that you could never fuck with this guy. You just never cross him.
Pimps are it's a strange breed of inventing a role. I mean, you know, they call it the game, and they invent a role for themselves, like, that's not really needed.
No, they're not needed.
That's why it's so theatrical and bizarre. I don't know. Did you see that movie, Pimps Up, Hoes Down?
Yeah, but I really didn't get it. It was just like, why? I mean, at the end of that movie, I just went, why? Why do girls give their money to these guys? They're just like hopeless.
It's that psychological trip they lay on them, you know?
Yeah, but the guys were so dopey.
Yeah, some of them.
Except for there was one skinny pimp, I forgot his name, who seemed really cool. But otherwise, they just seemed like a bunch of nitwits.
But, you know, down by law, I can't watch the damn thing now. I can't look at it as a movie. But when I was, you know, I had to transfer this new version, and not version, but a new digital master and all that. And I did watch that scene where you were, you know, turning out that little girl, or you were the prospective hooker that turns out to be a little girl, right? And I found that scene really creepy and kind of great. Like, I don't know, I hadn't really seen it since we made the movie, but...
I remember doing that and thinking I never quite nailed it.
Really?
You know, but that's a weird acting thing. You know, there's neuroses about acting and feeling I didn't quite nail it. And I remember thinking that at the time. I didn't get it quite.
Tus tráilers.
But
Visita mi canal.
With Kayama, my girlfriend, and we were walking from somewhere. She was drunk, and we're coming home, and there's some storefront on Lafayette Street where they have a bunch of video monitors in the window.
And you made her do tricks for you?
No.
Tricks?
And that scene was on in the window.
Really?
On 30 monitors, you know, in this store window at like 3 o'clock. And she was like, we had a big fight about it, actually. She's like, I said, don't you think that's weird? And she said, well, no, you're famous. I was like, I'm not really, like, famous like that. You know, it's like...
I would say that was a weird circumstance.
Yeah, I thought it was very weird.
It was a coinky-dink.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, one thing, though, that I hope you'll like on this DVD, when you made the character of Jack, and you played certain scenes that I took out where he was really unraveling, and he was going kind of nutty, remember?
Yeah.
And there was crazy stuff in the cell, when, you know, I gotta make a phone call.
I don't even remember. I remember there's one scene where the guards beat me up.
Yeah, and then there's a scene where you're beaten by the guards and returned to the cell. And then there was another scene out in that shack in the swamp where you were also, like, bugging out, saying, I gotta make a phone call.
Yeah, but I'm terrified to see these. I don't know if I saw these in dailies, but I know that for a long time I held on to this idea that it was the best acting I had done, and it was a way of blaming you for cutting my best acting, you know. But it was kind of like, you know, the Emperor's New Clothes, or that's not quite the right... But
well, I would say
I'm afraid to see them now because I know back then it was like, oh, that was the best acting I ever did, and it wasn't in the movie. And now I really don't.
No, you know, it wasn't a choice. It wasn't. they weren't taken out because of your acting, because I saw some of them again, you know, as outtakes, and they're pretty amazing. But there's one scene in the cell where you're like rocking back and forth, telling, you know, Zach, Tom's character, I got to make a phone call, I got to attend to this shit, I got stuff to do. And he's like humoring you, saying we could get a phone put in the cell. That's a great scene.
I have only the vaguest of recollections of that.
You will have your choice whether to see it or not. But the thing is, you know, it wasn't taken out. It was because I couldn't find a through line for all the characters.
No, completely. You know, it's like when it was close after the thing. Acting is the weirdest thing, because I was just doing it again on Oz. It makes you so weird. You can't hold on to any kind of perspective, and
you're at the mercy of everyone
else. Well, not just
else.
that. It's like what you invest into it doesn't really come out. What you invest into it doesn't come into the finished product. Maybe some of what you invest into. So it kind of, you feel like your effort is diffused somehow, and it's not. But it's also very self-involved. You know what I mean? It's not like, it makes you selfish. So you don't think about what can I do to make the project better. You think, what can I do to find this guy's psychology or make him more real or really be it. And then because of that process, you completely lose track of what, the storyteller is going through.
Yeah. But maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't be aware of it. You should only be aware of who that character is each moment. But even then, you can have differences of opinion, and that, like Roberto's scenes, his funniest takes are not generally the ones that are in the finished movie, because they didn't fit with the tone of you and Tom's acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that those weren't the funniest, most hilarious things if you isolate them.
Yeah, I had the same problem editing The Fishing Show with Dennis Hopper, where he was just throwing out these one-liners that were hysterical, but they didn't fit into the rhythm of the show, and so...
I think some are still in there. I recall him, throwing out some pretty funny lines. But, we have two, sad things. Two of the people that you worked with in this film are gone now. Billy Neal's gone, and Rockets
is gone. They seem gone in very different eras or something. They seem gone in different,
Yeah, I really miss them both. I don't know.
A lot of people gone.
And I don't know what, I have lost touch. I've never heard from Timothea, the other girl.
Oh, God knows what happens to her.
But she's a musician. She's probably cool. We should find out.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I hope she's doing all right. And do you remember when we went into prison? Do you have any memories of that, day or half day when we got locked down in cells without even the guards?
Yeah, but I thought that was insane. Tom wanted to get... I thought what was going to happen is we were going to get put in with other prisoners.
Right, we didn't.
And then they took us upstairs, and they locked us all in a room together.
No, they locked you and Tom in a cell, and me and Roberto in a cell, and I think there were cells between us with other guys in it, but we weren't in... Well, I'm glad we weren't in with other prisoners.
I guess, maybe now at this age, I think but I remember thinking, well, this is just a waste of time.
Yeah, well, it was with Roberto in my cell, because he was just talking about food anyway.
But also that feeling of shooting in the prison and, going in there every day.
It was depressing.
And, it was grim, and then the thing with that, how downtrodden they are. You pass them in the hallway and they have to look down at their feet, just whoosh.
Yeah. Oh, man. I know. My heart goes out to everybody locked down. I don't know. Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. And another cool thing in the outtakes, amongst the outtakes, is a little extension of when Bob catches the rabbit, and you guys there's a nice outtake where you push him down on the ground and tell him to leave you alone. You tell him to leave you alone, and then you walk off, and there's a slightly longer version of you walking alone. Again, talking about you got to make a phone call, you got to do this and that. There's some nice outtakes, I think. Yeah, I don't know if you'll ever look at them, but
No, I'll look at them.
they're pretty cool.
But, watching that interview is just, like, I don't even know who that person is,
Well, I know. They put on the, there's our press conference from Cannes, which I find pretty weird, too. Man, is that us? Is that who we were?
I keep hearing about that.
Are we scared? Are we arrogant? I guess I should speak for myself. I don't know if I was terrified or if I was obnoxious or
tráilers.
I don't know.
Visita mi
That's
canal.
what happened at the time. So I figured, what the hell? Put it on. I feel kind of like when I was a kid. When you had like your first Playboy that you stole from somewhere. I remember one cartoon in a really old Playboy where a guy was getting tattooed, but he already had almost his entire body tattooed, and he was saying to the tattooist, the caption was, "Yeah, what the hell? Put their names on too." And I kind of feel like that's what's happening with this DVD.
I mean, when I watched that interview with me with this horrible journalist, first I thought, how arrogant and obnoxious, and then I realized, oh my God, he's just really naive, and now he's been burnt a couple times, and so it's like, every time I start to say what I think, and then I stop myself,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, that interview, in that sense, like you're a way different person now, but, it's just, you were just trying to figure it out at the time.
Yeah, but I also thought I was really great. Aren't I great?
Well, maybe you were.
Yeah, maybe I was.
I don't know, I kind of liked it.
But I watched that interview and I just remember when Vince Gallo started doing that stuff, I just wanted to Vince, you have to be careful,
Yeah, there are lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
Well, I talked with Bob and Tom on the phone. Bob, of course, remembers a lot of the John Lurie English. I think the only thing he still actually uses is to flame.
To flame.
But he knew a lot, he remembered a lot of the other words, or else he was just making them up again, but...
I paid for all that, though. But will people know what you're talking about? I would teach Roberto.
Yeah, they will, because it's been talked about.
Yeah, but I really paid for that when I went to do The Little Devil. When I acted in Little Devil, I was just like...
How did he get you back?
Well, it was kind of like the whole movie got me back. I had learned Italian to do the movie,
Yeah.
And I'd worked really, really hard, and they were supposed to have this coach, an English coach, but he was at war with some faction of the set, and so he just never showed up to work with me. On any of the 10 times we were supposed to meet, he just never showed up. And I was supposed to have these 2 little scenes, and then, and then a much bigger scene, like a week from then, and then something, they changed the schedule around, something they just said right after lunch, and I had this thing where I had like maybe 12 paragraphs of dialogue straight with me speaking Italian, which I've never done, right?
Yeah.
But I've almost got it. And so I did the thing where, and I'm doing it, but it must have sounded completely insane, like probably the phrasing and stuff was just completely wacko. But I had worked so hard on it that I was furious. I finished it. I knew they couldn't use it. But I would, and then 70 Italians on the crew are like, well, what's he so mad about? He can't speak Italian. Why would he be angry,
So wait, what happened then? They
dubbed me. They dubbed me with like this really idiotic professor's voice.
Because didn't they shoot 2 versions?
But that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I know that. The English version must be just absurd.
Huh. I think that's the one I saw, though.
No.
No?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe they didn't release it.
They never did get released.
I never understood that concept of shooting 2 versions at the same time. It just makes no sense to me.
No.
How could you do that?
It didn't take that much longer, actually.
Yeah, but then you have actually physically 2 completely different films. Every take is different.
No, because they do that thing with it, like spaghetti westerns where, you can see the person going A, B, C, D, E, and...
Or you just post-sync it, but
yeah.
That's different than shooting 2 versions.
Well, yeah, but I think you can mix and match them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or,
I don't know, man. It just...
But I did my whole thing in English, and then they dubbed it into Italian. But I was doing my thing in English during the Italian version, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't let you dub your own. Or something. Well, listen, can you talk a little bit about the score? Because, man, you made a beautiful score for Down by Law.
Let's see, the first thing that comes to mind is we were out in those boats, and I heard that thing with the harmonicas like quadruple tracked over each other, like wow, wow, wow. I heard that in my head, and then I wasn't so sure if I could actually create it, and then it worked.
Wow.
That was cool. And then
I remember that's when the boat's drifting away in a long shot, and that music carries over that whole sequence in the boat in the swamp.
And then I went out with Nana, Vasconcelos, and Ardo, and we just decided to go into the studio. We went into Martin Beese's studio to just, I mean, you hadn't finished cutting it yet or anything, and we just kind of went in to like, let's see if we get something. And that's kind of almost the best stuff with Nana on the talking drum, or on the jug, and Ardo just going bang, and then me playing soprano.
That's that beautiful piece where you guys are walking before you come to the shack.
Yeah, and there's another one too. There's two like that.
Yeah.
And then E.J. Rodriguez found this milk can that goes that. We had all these weird harmonic overtones in it that worked. That was kind of worked great. And that's about what I remember.
Wow. Well, it sure was a great score. I was talking to Waits about it. He loves it too. Well, you know, I don't know if I've ever thanked you for
you're going to thank me now officially.
Yeah. No,
I'm not accepting it.
For real.
It's too late.
Oh, it's too late? You won't accept it?
I won't accept it.
All right.
Wait, what are you thanking me for?
Just all the incredible things you brought to the film. Not just the score, but the character of Jack, and I don't know.
You can't do that. Did you do that with the other guys?
What? I don't know. I hope so. I hope I did.
Come on, man.
What do you think? I'm just bullshit?
No, I think you're being sincere about it.
I'm trying to be, but I guess I shouldn't try.
This is like hugging you in public or something.
No, I just having gone back, you know, I hate looking back at this shit, but having
No, I tell you something.
Stuff, I really do appreciate, like, wow, it's not, you know, I've always said this, like, the film is never this auteur theory bullshit, especially not the ones we've made, and I don't know, I really do appreciate, man, all these crazy...
I gotta tell you, it was like, I had always gone, yeah, people go, oh, that movie's great, and you go, really? You know, it's like, I can't see it, you know, and then...
But we can't. We can't.
No, but I went here. I had a good thing when I went to that you know, at the Lincoln Center when they showed it. I don't know when, 3 years ago or whatever. And I got there. I was going to try to avoid it because I was supposed to just talk afterwards. And I walked in like maybe a third of the way through, and the first thing that just hit me was like how amazing it looks. The look is just unbelievable. And then it was like, God, this really works. It really kind of works, and it has a certain enchanted quality that I don't know quite how it got in there, but. Yeah. But it's the same thing with Stranger. It has the same enchanted quality that God knows how it quite got in there, but it's in there. That must be you.
No, I don't know how. I think I just organized good people, you know? I don't know. But yeah, I gotta say, looking back at Down by Law visually, man, Robbie really, wow, what a kind of fairy tale look he brought to it.
No, he's really an artist. But saying that, let me also say that what a pain in the ass.
Oh man, but what beautiful things he's done.
Yeah.
Well, I guess everyone has their limits. I don't know.
So you won't say anything bad about anybody.
I can't say anything bad about Robbie.
No, I guess not.
Just can't. Well, fuck you then. I'm going to call you unofficially then. I'm going to call you back unofficially.
Okay, accept. I accept your thank you.
What?
I accept your thank you.
Oh, John. All right. Well, so now you're back in prison on Oz.
No, I'm done.
Oh, you're done.
I'm all done.
Oh, good.
That was weird.
You're cooked.
Hmm? No, I live at the end.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm like one of the, like 4 people left.
Wow.
I live at the end.
All right, well, do you have anything else we should talk about Down by Law? I can think of nothing more.
Barbara Hoover.
Barbara Hoover.
Yeah.
We shot in her house. That's where all that graffiti is. But I think I mentioned Barbara Hoover. And
you did already?
I hope so. Because people think we put all that graffiti on the wall and
really?
where Tom and Alan scenes are, and all that shit was there, you know.
But whoever did the jail cell was good. Whoever did the jail cell did a really good job.
Yeah, some of that was real, but then somebody did it, and I don't know who did it. It is really cool.
Two walls were fake, I think.
2 walls were fake, and 1 was real. Yeah. Man, I know. That shit was really nice. Tom was saying that, too. He wanted to zoom in on some of the jail cell stuff, because he really liked that graffiti and drawings. But I don't remember which is the real wall, so... Anyway, I remember nothing.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. All right, well, listen, man, I'll call you back in a while.
Okay.
All right? Okay, bye.